Hi, gorgeous, and welcome to the Confident, Energized, and Sexy Mama Show. I am Dorit Palvanov, your host, feminine energy expert, health coach for women, registered holistic nutritionist, and the creator of the groundbreaking health and mindset program for moms, Energized, designed for perimenopausal women who are done having kids and are ready to get their confidence, energy, and sexy back. Ladies, think about it. What would the world look like if, as women, we stopped being so harsh on ourselves and instead felt more energized, powerful, confident, and more connected to our bodies? What if, as women, we honored the fact that we are built and wired differently than men, and being different does not mean being inferior? That the go, go, go mentality, alongside doing more to have more without ever pausing and resting, only leads to chronic stress, anxiety, burnout, overwhelm, lack of joy, and corrodes our health, relationships, and vitality. What if, as women, wives, and mothers, we had the courage and confidence to desire more? More freedom, power, energy, joy, abundance, pleasure, fun, play, and sex, all on our own terms. Mama, you deserve to feel good. You deserve to form healthy relationships, and your body needs, craves, and deserves pleasure. This is your birthright. You're here because you believe in your feminine energy. You're here because you care about health and the environment, and you're not afraid to take action and change. You're here because you don't want to pass on a pattern of self destruction, hiding, and not speaking your truth to your daughters. You're here because you're done feeling stuck, living a mediocre life as a half woman. You're here because you are done struggling and, frankly, can no longer afford to feel like crap. Each week, I will be here for you, dropping a healthy dose of inspiration and motivation, as well as introducing you to my brilliant guests, where we will dive deep into all things womanhood, feminine power, energy, psychology, holistic and alternative health, food, nutrition, hormones, fitness, mindset, motherhood, relationships, sex, business, and much more. So, Mama, are you ready to take back control of your health? Let's do this. Hey, gorgeous. Welcome back to the show, to the Confident, Energized, and Sexy Mama show. This is Dorit Palvanov, your host. Actually, I'm not a host, I'm your hostess. Welcome back. This is it. This is, as I'm recording this, it's December the 29th. It's 3 days before we're stepping officially into 2020. And this is going to be the last episode for this year, for 2019. And today's episode is going to be, I don't know, I think it's going to be a bonus episode. My kids are on winter break right now. And last week we watched the movie Frozen 2. And I know we're late to the game, but the reason it happened was because actually I planned for it. I wanted us to have this movie as one of the activities that we're going to do during winter break, but also because my husband and we are very clear about not participating in, the rush and the craze whenever something new enters the market. And so we waited, and it was perfect. We actually got really affordable tickets to a really amazing movie theater close home, close to where we live, and we got amazing seats. And it was 10 a.m., which was the perfect time. Everybody were rested, and we went. We've had a family outing, and it was beautiful. So, anyways, so today is really the title for today's podcast is What Frozen 2 Taught Me. as a woman, as a wife, as a mother. And I really hope that I can do a good job of telling my lessons without spoiling the experience of the movie for you. So, just in case, I'm going to warn you, this might spoil the movie for you. So, if you haven't yet seen it, watch it first and then listen to the episode. So 6 years ago, when the first Frozen came out, my daughters were 4 and 2. They were so tiny. Let It Go was literally playing on a loop in my car, phone, house, parents' house, in-laws' house, and everywhere we went, starting from birthdays and ending at Walmart. It was such a hit, and I admit I personally loved it just as much as they did. And when I heard that they have made a sequel, I honestly was very skeptical. It is so rare that the sequel is better or as good as the first. But this one was hands down amazing. Really 5 stars. The production, the storytelling, the storyline, the fact that this movie wasn't about love or romance, although that was also present, it just wasn't the focus of the movie. And I was just blown away. I was very pleasantly surprised. It was just not cheesy. It brought topics that are really important, I think, in our generations to talk about and ponder about, and even for us parents who are guiding our kids through life. I think it's important to look at some of the themes that this movie touches. So in Frozen, in the first movie, Elsa feared that her powers were too much for the world, right? And so she tried to hide them, and then her parents they didn't know how to control it, and so her dad locked her in the castle and blah blah blah. But in Frozen 2, it's the struggle is different. The struggle is that she now must hope that these powers, that they are enough, for whatever it is that she needs to face. So my daughters are really all obsessed with the songs, and to be quite honest, so does their mom. The songs are as good as they were in the first movie. I find myself sometimes singing these songs in the shower to myself, or when I cook, or even put them in the car, even when the kids are not there. Yep. And I know that I'm not alone. I know a lot of you do the same. So I feel like Into the Unknown, the one of the songs in the second movie, it should become, or it will become, and I see how it's already becoming, an anthem. It's becoming an anthem for people who are on a journey towards something new and exciting, but scary and necessary. So I've spoken with a few mamas, and so many of them shared with me that they really resonated with this song, even more than their kids did. So many mamas feel like their lives have been put on hold since they've become parents. The daily grind is definitely taking its toll on us, and so going into the unknown is both scary and desirable. Like Elsa says, you are someone out there who's a little bit like, or no, she asked that as a question. Are you someone out there who's a little bit like me, who knows deep down I'm not where I'm meant to be? Where am I meant to be? Is it here or is it there? Is it doing stuff in the world? Is it creating and expressing myself in the world? Is it being of service? Is it living my purpose, being used by God? Who knows? Is it raising those kids? Is it being present for them? Where is it that you and I feel the most, like I said, used by God, right? So today I wanted to share with you, how many points do I have? I think I have six points of the major that are the major lessons that I left with after watching Frozen 2. And if you resonate with these, do let me know. Find me over at Instagram. My handle is at Dorit Palvanov Coaching. I'm going to spell it out for you. DORITPALVANOV Coaching, all one word. And do let me know. All right, so here we go. Number 1, the first lesson. So stepping into the unknown and listening to your calling. So being true to yourself and breaking the barriers of your own mind. How uncomfortable is this, right? We all know how this feels. You hear the voice or the whisper, right? Calling you to make that call, to ask that question, to leave that relationship, to connect with someone you've neglected, to listen to your body, to do that test, whatever it is that you need to do, to book that appointment, to send that message, etc., etc. I once heard a great therapist say that our mind is hardwired to absolutely resist anything that is new and unknown. I think it was Marissa Peer. Do look her up. I absolutely recently totally am digging her work. And that's what she said. And I love it because it's important for us women, wives and mothers, to understand how the brain is wired. So when we know that our mind is actually designed to absolutely resist anything that is new and unknown, it's helpful because then you know that you should not be wasting energy or resources on staying stuck. Instead, that property of the brain, of the mind, it's great for survival and it's great for staying safe, but it's awful in the sense that it keeps us feeling stuck sometimes for years, right? So if you feel like there's something that you've been desiring for a long time, if you've been hearing that calling or that voice, do know that this is not wishful thinking, that you have the power to change your own reality and create a brand new trajectory for yourself, just like Elsa did. And, in the movie, they're showing how she's really battling with this voice and she doesn't want it. She resists it. She really has a great life. She loves the life she currently has. She's very comfortable in her comfort zone, in her little bubble. And yet it doesn't go away. It's still there, and it whispers and whispers and during the day and then at night, and so it does not let her any rest. And eventually she faces it, and she really steps into her power and into her greatness. So that's number 1. Excuse me. The second point, the second lesson is, I loved how the movie exposed a rainbow of emotions. And I absolutely loved that in this movie, the producers were not afraid to show difficult emotions, such as grief, sadness, depression, and despair, as well as, of course, positive ones. I believe that our children, they so desperately need to see that it's okay to feel and to break down, and that they have the power to bring themselves back up by choosing to do the next right thing, like Anna says. This message is so important, not only for children. So often we adults feel like we're breaking apart because life is just not what we want it to be. So often we feel like we've lost control over our emotions, our mental health, our body, our relationships, our work, career, etc., etc. I love that we don't need to have the whole picture in mind in the movie, which is overwhelming and might seem like too much or too big to someone who's recovering or healing, right? Instead, all we need to do is just to do the next right thing. That's it. And then another step, and then another. And before you know it, you've accomplished your goal. You've achieved that very thing that a month ago, 6 months ago, a year ago, or whatever it is, whatever amount of time past you didn't believe that you were capable of doing. This is such a powerful concept, and I want to drill it into your mind. You are listening to this show. If you're listening to the show, most likely it's because you desire to feel more confident, more energized, and sexier, and more passionate, more alive as a woman. This too begins with only the next right step, right? And here's where this is beautiful. No one can tell you what that step is. Only you know. So trust yourself. What is that step? Is it booking an appointment with your doctor? Is it reserving a book from the library about health and hormones and movement, nutrition, recipes? Is it about behavior, the mind, having the right mindset? Is it about changing your habits? Or is it ordering water instead of alcohol at the bar? Is it changing how you talk to yourself? Is it waking up 10 minutes earlier than your regular wake up time? Or is it scheduling a discovery call with me? Which you're very welcome to do, by the way. You can head on over to www.doritpalvanov.com/contact/discovery and booking that call and getting on a phone with me and sharing where you feel stuck in your mindset or in your body, and maybe creating a game plan for yourself. But whatever it is, remember that you don't need to know everything. You do not need to know everything. You don't need to have the entire plan. You don't need to have the entire plan laid out in front of you before you begin to take action. All you need to do is only the next best step. That's it. And from there, the next step and the next step and the next step, they will reveal themselves. This is how it works. In most cases, this is how we manifest change, right? But in order to do that, we need to know what it is that we want, how is it that we want to feel, what is it that we want to change, what is it that we no longer are willing to live with, right? So yeah, I think that was amazing. So the rainbow of emotions, as well as being really to persevere and to stick with being patient and to just keep going, no matter how you feel, no matter how scared you feel, just keep going one step at a time. So I absolutely love that concept. Another point, which is very much related to the second point, is emotional resilience. At the end of the movie, there is a moment where Kristoff, so throughout the entire movie, he's trying to propose to Anna. And I love how he says that he did not propose to her because whatever reason, and then she apologizes. She says, "I'm sorry," and then he says, "It's okay. My love is not fragile." And I just absolutely loved it. I think what this means is that his love withstands struggle, time, and separation. And this too is such an important lesson for our children who are growing with devices, technology, Netflix, visuals, and other stuff that distract and make it difficult to wait. Let's face the truth. We are the instant gratification generation. And even things like love have become commodities that if are not provided fast enough, tend to be replaced by something faster, better, and less emotional. You've heard me say this over and over again on this podcast. Drama is the killer of our relationships and mental health. And as you know, there's so much of it out there. So I wanted to mention this on this podcast since you ladies know that the themes of womanhood and femininity are recurrent around here. As women, we must understand that we are wired for connection. which means that we have a very strong capacity to feel, to intuit, and to connect with others. But the flip side of this is our tendency to slip too far into unnecessary drama, right? Things like he said, she said, can you believe this? And other things that we do or say that wire us to spend way too much energy in the wrong places. So for that, I admire the fact that Christoph said to Anna that his love is not fragile, because it's true. A fragile love does not withstand struggle, time, and separation. A fragile love is a love that is basically conditional, right? And so I think it's a good reminder for us, for our kids, and also for us adults, that it helps us to adopt the mindset of strength, confidence, instead of Hey gorgeous, I'm pausing this solo episode in order to invite you to get your energy back. I know that after getting married and having kids, it's so natural and so normal, quote unquote normal, for us women and wives and moms to get zapped of energy. And so I would like to invite you to head on over to my website and grab the exact 3 steps to get your energy back after getting married and having kids. It is a free masterclass that is taught by me, a feminine energy expert and a registered holistic nutritionist, Dorit Palvanov. And in this masterclass, you will learn 3 things. Number 1 is exactly why you feel so tired, burnt out, lost, and like a shell of a woman, and of course, what to do about it. Number 2 is the one mindset shift that all healthy and happy women have gone through to regain their confidence, energy, and passion for life. And number 3, I will teach you the exact 3 steps to increase your energy instantly. And hint, it is not more coffee or sweets. So in order to get instant access to this class, to this masterclass, head on over to my website, www.doritpalvanov.com. Dorit Palvanov is spelled as DORITPALVANOV.com/energy masterclass. So again, doritpalvanov.com/energy masterclass. And I will see you on the other side. All right, back to the episode. Allowing ourselves to feel too fragile emotionally, mentally, and even physically. Okay? So that's point number 3. That's lesson number 3. Lesson number 4 is, of course, girl power and sisterhood. Oh my God, finally, not a movie that its underlying theme is romance and a woman needing a man to save her. There is, of course, a love story in the movie, but it's subtle and not the main focus of it, which I love. The only thing I did not appreciate is how, and recently I see it popping up more and more, is the fact that the man is portrayed as clumsy, kind of silly, doesn't understand, like he's not in control, like he's the weak, in this relationship, in this dynamic between men and women. And I think that is not helpful either. I think it's really helpful for our children and for us as well to see a good, healthy balance between what masculine energy is and what feminine energy, right? So in this movie, they did highlight the power of womanhood, girl power, and sisterhood. And I feel like they could have done a better job with Christoph, but that I digress. We are talking about a much deeper issue here. This is about our connection with each other as women. It's about our ability to hold and contain each other without competition or hostility. As women, we desperately, ladies, I'm going to repeat that, we desperately need each other. And this connection provides so much more than any romantic relationship can provide for you and me. This is not about hormones or procreation, right? Rather, this is about carrying on our stories. It's about sharing our pain and successes. It's about supporting one another. It's about rooting for one another. There is a very disruptive behavior out there. And for you ladies working at corporate, this might be very familiar. It's known as the queen bee phenomenon. So what that is that some senior level women distance themselves from junior women, perhaps to be more accepted by their male peers. Now, trying to separate yourself from a marginalized group is sadly a strategy that's frequently used. It's easy to believe that there's a limited space for people who look like you at the top when you can see it with your own eyes. Right? So this is really about, it's a scarcity mentality. And there was a study published in the Leadership Quarterly, and the study concludes that this behavior is a response to inequality at the top, not the cause. I repeat, this behavior is a response to the inequality, not the cause of it. So in this movie, I loved how the two sisters worked together in a non-competitive manner. And at the end, they won because of their unity, not in spite of it. So sit with this for a few minutes and think, where in your life do you put other women down or see them as a threat? And think, how can you work with that person instead of competing with her? It's possible, and I know that you can do it. By the way, if you do struggle with this one, reach out to me. I'm happy to help you brainstorm some ideas. You can email me at dorit.palvanov@gmail.com, or you can DM me. My handle on Instagram is at Dorit Palvanov Coaching. Okay, and let's talk about it. Let's even try to plant the seed for reconciliation and for healing that relationship if it's important for you. But the point here is that as women, our strength is not in being alone, is not in doing things alone. It's in the unity, it's in the connection, it's in the community. That's where our girl power and woman power and sisterhood lies. For years, for generations before us, women have always lived in community. They always lived in tribes. They've always supported each other. They were like one big unit, as opposed to men who could roam and who could hunt and who could disappear to accomplish a task or to accomplish whatever it is that they wanted to do. They could do it on their own. And for us women, in order for us to thrive, we need to be together. Super, super important. So I loved how they highlighted it here in the movie. Okay, so that was point number 4. Point number 5 is my favorite, of course. And I kind of, to be honest with you, I was not surprised by it at all. So that is the mother-daughter relationship. Like I said, I totally saw it coming. I almost knew this would come up at one point during the movie because this movie is very clearly advocating womanhood, femininity, female-centric approach. And it's impossible to do that without bringing up the very unique relationship that we have with our mothers. So you've heard me talk about this several times on this podcast. As something that I refer to as healing the mother wound that affects us all. Another related lesson from the movie is seeing the humanity of our ancestors and understanding their mistakes. Our ancestors are, whether they are mothers or fathers, are human beings, and they have or had feelings too. fear is a big deal that many people don't know how to handle. And I loved how this movie is showcasing the younger generation as braver and more resilient emotionally than the older generation. When it comes to our mothers, definitely check out episode 53, where I dive much deeper into this topic. This is where I talk about how you are not your mom and you do not have to repeat your mother's mistakes. But the bottom line is, our mothers teach us how to be a woman in the world. This is just how it is. And if you did not grow up with a mother, then there must be somebody else who was a female, who was a woman, who you have learned from how to be a woman in the world. We look up to her or to them as the Northern Star, and very often align our actions with how we think that she would, or in a way that will get her to approve you. Right? This is psychology 101, but it's very like to simplify things for you. And it's a very intricate psychological phenomenon that is very helpful if you've had a mom that you are proud of and did some amazing things in the world, right? If you do have that, in most cases, it's very likely that you would do the same. However, if it's the other way around, if deep down you know that your mom could have or should have acted in other ways, and again, no judgment here, it's just the ability of looking objectively at the facts, then this can be a huge stumbling block. Okay, I myself still fight with this every day, every single day, because without judging my mom, I have seen many situations where I think she should have behaved differently, where she should have been stronger, or she should have put her feet in the ground, and she should have been more stubborn and whatever. But that's me, right? That's how I view the world. I am still recovering from having a victim mentality, which I've inherited from my mom. She knows this, and I do have her permission to share this, but this is tricky because she has also inherited this from her mom, and so on and so forth. So this is just something that is very prevalent in my maternal lineage, and this is where the mother wound healing is crucial. It's in order to change your own trajectory. I do this work in my practice, and I'm happy to talk to you about this if you need help in moving past this once and for all. So again, if you would like to get in touch with me, please email me, dorit.palvanov@gmail.com, or send me a direct message on Instagram at Dorit Palvanov Coaching. So that's point number 5, mother-daughter relationships, super powerful, and it was so emotional. I literally sobbed the entire scene. It was amazing. It was incredible. Okay. So that was point number 5. Now point number 6, and that's the final point. And that is taking care of the planet. So I love how they have incorporated the First Nations in the story, who've always lived off the land, and they lived in alignment with Mother Nature. And the forest in the movie is a living and breathing organism that the people listen to as a guiding star. I think it's beautiful. So I don't want to give away too much of the movie, although I've given away enough. But the 4 elements piece was beautiful. It was just, everything came together, and how Elsa was the 5th element. It was just really beautifully done, and I loved how they have shown the fact that human beings cannot separate themselves from nature, from caring for the planet. This is actually one of our highest responsibilities. So that was beautiful too. By the way, this week, my family, we have a tradition of going to a museum during our kids' winter break. So we visited this time, and every year it's amazing because my kids grow, and their ability to stay focused and their just their capacity for listening and to accepting stories, it's different every year. So this year we've spent a lot of time in the First Nations floor. So if you're local to Toronto, it's the Royal Ontario Museum. And the first floor is where they exhibit the First Nations of Canada. And so I loved how there was actually during that day they've had someone who is a member of this community, who is he is a descendant of the First Nations, and he was sharing with us, of course, after a conversation, he shared with us that apparently the Disney people who've done Frozen have gone all the way to that village that they have shown in the movie, the First Nations. They've actually visited them and got their approval in talking about them and showing them in the movie. So I thought it's absolutely beautiful how a big company like Disney is also making strides in communicating to the world that it's really important to stay authentic and stay truthful to the facts and how things are, and instead of fabricating a reality. So yeah, and these people have a very strong connection with Mother Earth, with the moon, with the sky, with the animals, with the forest, and I think they've done a really nice job showcasing that in the movie. And that's it. There you have it. 6 lessons that I've learned from Frozen 2. I left the movie sobbing and not wanting it to end, which in my opinion is a must for a good movie. And when the movie ended, I asked my daughters, how was it? And my older two said unanimously, better than the first. So if children think so, I think you will agree too. So if you haven't seen it yet, what are you waiting for? Go and see it now. So now I'd love to hear from you after watching the movie or listening to this episode and the lessons that I've shared. I'm curious to know which lessons stuck with you. What did you see in the movie that really resonated with you? I would love, love, love to know. So please send me an email to dorit.palvanov@gmail.com or DM me on Instagram at Dorit Palvanov Coaching. So I'm going to spell it out for you. DoritPalvanov Coaching. All one word. And that's it. That's my last episode for 2019. Next week, I will be back with a brand new episode. The new year, I have this desire to talk to you more about food and nutrition, our connection, our relationship with our body. I have this longing to share more of what I know as far as mother-daughter relationship goes, about the deep, intricate relationship that we have with our menstrual cycle, and how you can use all of that to help yourself create a really sustainable lifestyle for yourself as a woman that you can keep leaning back on, keep coming back to, and really change the sometimes negative and not so positive habits, whether it's eating habits or whether it's thinking habits or whether it is moving habits, whatever habits that you have or don't have. This system, the feminine current, it's really all about helping you changing all of that in a way that is going to be sustainable, in a way that allows you to move through the struggle without feeling like you're failing. like without feeling like you are not moving or progressing anywhere. So I know it's kind of like complicated to understand, but stick with me. Stay tuned to the podcast. Next year, I will be talking to you much more in much greater detail about that. I also have in the works launching a brand new program, and that program is actually for your kids. So many of you asked me questions about kids and how to feed children healthy. So I'm going to be launching a brand new program in the new year. I'm aiming for February of 2020. I hope I can do it. I can, commit to this deadline, but it's really designed to help you to feed your kids in a way that is easy, sustainable, and in a way that will help you to change their eating habits, which is, it really all comes down to habits, isn't it? And that's it. So thank you so much for listening to the show. If you've been following me for 2.5 years, then you're amazing. Thank you so much for your time, for your energy. And for those of you who are new to the show, welcome. And I cannot wait to connect with you. So with that, I'm going to send you off with so much love, many, many blessings. Happy New Year. And I will talk to you next year. Bye for now. Wait, before you go, I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and if you did, I want to know about it. So snap a picture of you listening to this episode and share it on Instagram or Facebook. On Instagram, you can tag me at Dorit Palvanov Coaching. So Dorit is spelled as Dorit and Palvanov spelled as Palvanov Coaching. So it's all one word. Or you can use the hashtag Confident, Energized, and Sexy Mama Podcast. You see, my personal goal beyond having amazing conversations with guests or hosting solo episodes is to increase the visibility for this platform and these messages to be shared and heard by women who need it the most. And there's no way that I can do this on my own. So I'm asking you, the incredible community of confident, energized, and sexy mamas, to help me with this goal. So whether you're coming to me through iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, wherever you're listening to the show from, please rate, review, and subscribe to the show. This would mean the world to me, and it's so helpful for other mothers who are looking for this information. So thank you so much for listening, and I'll catch you next time. Bye for now.